Good afternoon, everyone. This talk is about how to drive business growth with faster and well-designed mobile websites. I'm Daniel, and I'm here with my teammate Jamal. So we work at Google as global product leads for mobile web, and we're excited to be here. Now, I know it's getting late, and it's been a long day. Hopefully it's been a great day. It's not lost on us that we're the ones standing between you and Katy Perry. So in return for your attention, we're going to try and make this interesting. And to start, I'd like to play a video.
You make no sense. You make no sense.
Hello.
You make no sense. You make no sense. Say you make no sense at all. I said you make no sense at all. You make no sense. You make no sense. You make no.
So hopefully you enjoyed that video as much as I did. And I actually see myself in a lot of examples that you just saw, whether it's standing in a fictitious line trying to get into your hotel, or attempting to buy something in a really, really slow-loading mobile website. The reality is we've all been there, right? So when Jamal and I meet with customers, I think the top question that people have on their minds is, so Google, tell us, how do we win on mobile? What is it that we need to do really well to really deliver an amazing experience? There are two things you guys need to do. The first thing is you have to be fast, right? So being fast is really about delivering good and lasting first impressions. The second thing is you have to deliver a user-friendly experience. Now, let me talk a little bit about the importance of speed, and we'll go into MUX later on. So speed is really about acknowledging that somebody's standing on your front door, right? And you have to do that really quickly. Otherwise, you're going to run the risk of somebody just losing interest. Worst case, they're going to take their business somewhere else. So if you guys are wondering how fast or slow the mobile web is today, you've come to the right place. At Google, we love data, and we have a lot of it. We know for a fact that the average mobile ads landing page, so in other words, your mobile ads landing pages, take an average 15 seconds to fully load on a 4G connection. Now, 15 seconds might not sound like an eternity, but it really, really is, and it's a problem. We think it's a problem because it's been said that the level of stress that people associate with latency from a mobile device is actually very similar to that of watching a scary movie or trying to solve a tough math problem. The last thing we want to do in people's lives is to add stress. We want to help people de-stress. Now, besides from annoying people, latency actually has a direct impact on your business's bottom line. So this chart is from a case study conducted by a company called SOSTA. SOSTA is now part of Akamai. SOSTA is a performance analytics vendor. So they work with sites like yourself, and they tag those sites to better understand the relationship between speed and performance and different business metrics that you guys care about. So in this case, conversion rate. And what they found was that as speed deteriorates, the conversion rate drops. In this particular case study, what they found was that even 1 second of additional latency can actually kill conversions by more than 20%. So hopefully I've sort of sold you an idea that speed and performance is really, really important. And to talk about how you can consistently offer fast ads landing pages, Jamal is going to talk about AMP.
Thank you, Daniel. Hi, everyone. Let me briefly talk about how AMP can help you to build a performance site. AMP is a web components framework and a very easy way to build a very fast web page. Actually, AMP pages are loading 85% faster than standard pages. And some platforms and search engines take a step further to cache your content for almost instant loading experiences. Since its launch in 2015, billions of web pages adopted AMP technology for faster experiences. And in late 2017, we launched AMP support for Google Ads. In other words, you can leverage AMP's speed benefit for your ads landing pages. As you can see in this example, you can see a comparison here of an AMP landing page and a standard landing page. You are able to get instant loading experiences for your ads landing pages. This is important because this is directly correlated with your user's landing page experience. And we know that almost in all cases, you are getting a mobile speed score of 10 out of 10 when you are having the AMP landing pages. AMP is an open source project led by Google and some other companies. And some other companies like Microsoft are also contributing to this project. Recently, Bing launched their own AMP viewer and AMP cache to offer a similar speedy experiences to their own users. And since 2015, and more e-commerce partners, advertisers, and publishers are adopting AMP. I want to make something very clear. Most interactive experiences are supported by AMP. As you can see in these examples, from product listing pages to offering a search experience for a travel landing page, or to offering product detail pages in AMP format, including all the functionalities like sorting and filtering. That's possible. And we hear from brands who leverage this technology for their landing pages, conversion rate uplifts from 3% to 500%. And one of those companies is Greenwiz, a French organic retailer who migrated their mobile pages to AMP in under 2 months, started to leverage them for their ads landing pages to achieve these impressive results. 66% mobile cost per acquisition improvement for ads campaigns, resulting in 80% mobile conversion rate uplift. You can check this on amp.dev webpage, and more other case studies are also on that webpage. How can you do that? How can you achieve the AMP speed benefit for your ads landing pages? It is very easy. Once your AMP page is ready, you just need to add the URL of your AMP landing page as mobile final URL. This step is important because we don't auto-discover AMP pages for paid search. That was it about AMP. Let me give the word back to you, Daniel, to talk more about progressive web apps.
Thank you. So that was AMP. Now let's change gears a little bit and talk about this concept called progressive web apps. Now, by show of hands, how many of you are familiar with progressive web apps, or PWA? Okay, so half the audience. I was getting a little bit nervous, and I was going to pretend that 100% of the audience knew about what progressive web apps really are. So what's really important to understand is progressive web apps are literally just a standard website. Okay, it's a modern website, but when a progressive web app is implemented really well, the difference between a progressive web app and your website today is that a progressive web app tends to be fast, installable, reliable, and engaging. Okay, and progressive web apps work really well on all types of devices. So let's talk a little bit about how you should consider AMP versus progressive web apps. So, in a nutshell, this is an oversimplification of how you should consider AMP versus progressive web apps. But I want to frame it in terms of where you're going to get the biggest bang for your buck. So Jamal talked about AMP. In broad terms, AMP gets you fast pages right out of the gates, and that's very, very critical for all upper funnel activity. But as you progress through that funnel, your priorities as a marketer and as a user evolve, right? So if you happen to be a user, you are going from browsing content, to potentially researching a product or service, to then hopefully buying something. But it's in that portion of the funnel that a lot of consumers actually drop off. Hence why mobile conversion rates are lagging that of desktop conversion rates. So to make sure that people actually stay on your mobile websites and take some sort of meaningful action after you acquire that traffic, we want to make sure that people have the best tools and technologies to do that. And that's exactly what a progressive web app can help with. So at a very high level, let's walk through some examples of businesses that have taken advantage of some of these progressive features to drive meaningful business results. I'll start with Pinterest. How many of you guys use Pinterest? Okay, so half the audience, great. Pinterest, as you may know, recently went public. So I would actually argue that now more than ever, a site like Pinterest has to do everything they can to continue to optimize the user experience. And one of the ways they did that was by essentially delivering a faster experience for repeat visitors. And they did that by caching their static assets on the page, so static assets like images and text. And when you think about it, it totally makes sense, right? So every time you go to a website, the browser is telling the server to download a lot of resources, to then construct the HTML and CSS. And that is where a lot of websites today just fail. It takes forever, load times are 15 seconds, people bounce. And so by essentially browsing caching assets, Pinterest was able to speed up performance by roughly 30%. George.com is a fashion retail site out of the UK, and they wanted to drive additional site usage. And so they did that by essentially prompting repeat visitors to add their progressive web app to the home screen. So it's kind of like a shortcut, right? So it's similar to going to the App Store, the Play Store, installing a mobile application, and then you have it on your phone, and you can tap on it, and you go straight to the application. Well, you can do that on mobile web as well. And by doing that, George.com was able to drive site usage by almost 30%. Now, Trivago is a travel site based in Germany, and they had a similar business problem that they wanted to solve for to that of Pinterest, but they went a step further. They wanted to be reliable for repeat visitors, and particularly when people have no connectivity. There are instances today when you happen to be on a train in Europe, and you're in a tunnel, and you just don't have connectivity, but you want access to your hotel reservation or a boarding pass. And so by delivering consistent offline experiences to mobile users, Trivago was able to drive user retention by more than 67%. And then last but not least, I want to talk a little bit about push notifications. So historically, push notifications is something that I think a lot of us associate with mobile applications, right? You download an app, and you unknowingly opt into push notifications, and somebody just spams you with a ton of notifications, right? Now, there are good news and bad news. The good news is you can do that on the web today. The bad news is spamming somebody in a mobile application is the same as spamming somebody on a web application. So you have to be careful about how you do that. Our recommendation is that you are very upfront and transparent in terms of why somebody should opt into push notifications. I would also say that you should use data and insights to really come up with a strategy in terms of when and how you want to use notifications. So for example, as an advertiser, does it make sense to send a push notification 9 a.m. on a Monday morning? Or does it make more sense to send that push notification 4 p.m. on Tuesday afternoon? I can't tell you what makes the most sense, but there's a fine line in between providing value and destroying value. So be careful about how you do that. Now, these are just some progressive features that you guys can take advantage of today. There's a lot more. We don't have too much time to talk about the rest. But I do want to say this. The next time you guys are thinking about how you can drive additional efficiency and effectiveness with your marketing campaigns, I would implore you guys to sit down with your web development teams and talk about how you can take advantage of some of these features today. If done correctly, I am very confident that you're going to be able to drive additional business value. So that was progressive web apps. The caveat there, I would say, is we've talked about AMP and progressive features. All of that stuff is great. You can do all of this today. But if you don't have a good mobile user experience, none of this really matters. So to sort of drive it back home, Jamal is going to talk about why great mobile UX is critical.
Thanks, Daniel. For those who don't know me, I'm super passionate about UX and conversion rate optimization topic. Why? Because there are so many bad experiences in the ecosystem. And there are lots of low-hanging fruits and easy to optimize things to boost your conversion rates. It's not only about the online digital experience. UX, user experience, is about offline experiences that we have in the life. In these pictures, you see Google offices. Like these pictures are from Google offices that I visited. Anyone from South Africa? So the top right one is from Cape Town office of Google. Bottom left is from our London office. And the bottom right is from Dublin office. So these are salt and pepper shakers. They have something in common. They all make my life harder. They risk the taste that I'm getting from the food that I'm eating. Who can confidently tell me which one is the salt shaker? Right? What about that one? Obvious always wins. So it's about offline or online experience that we have in our life. Remember, obvious always wins. So in this example, I want to share a case study from Google Translate team. Google Translate team improved the usage of features and engagement by naming the features in the UI. Anyone knows what this weird snake icon? I won't click or tap that button because I don't know what it is. By naming this, actually it's handwriting feature, the team improved the engagement by 25%. Very basic improvement, huge results. Similarly, hotel search team, they show us like why being risk averse is important in call to action wording. So they used to have a call to action wording like book a room, as you see here. And they think that maybe the user is not ready to commit at this stage. Let's become more risk averse, and they tried the word check availability versus book a room. And see the impact, 17% improvement in engagement. Small change in 2 words, 17% improvement in engagement and conversion rate. And last example. This is actually 2 different examples showing buying a product experience from 2 different e-commerce experiences. The left one is from the Netherlands, the Bijenkorf, which is a department store. And the right one is Google official merchandise store, so where you can buy Google hoodies, etc. They have one thing in common. They both offer a navigation area on top of the screen, like a search bar or a hamburger menu. But the Bijenkorf does something else. They expose top categories on their site on the viewable screen. So the user does not need to open the hamburger menu and find the category. They just need to tap on the main screen. On the other hand, on the right example, Google Merchandise Store is showing a rotating banner or carousel. And you know what? Research is showing us that rotating banners are conversion killers. I don't know why we are doing that, and I hope Google won't fire me after this talk. But the Bijenkorf experience is better. There is a minor difference in the UI, but there is a major difference in the user behavior. The Bijenkorf users can continue their experience with one-handed usage. On the other hand, Google users need to switch back to the two-handed usage. This is important. Assume that you are in the metro, in the bus, and you need to halt in the bus because it is shaking, and you want to convert with one hand. You can't convert, or you can't buy a hoodie from Google site. But you can convert with the experience that the Bijenkorf is offering. That's a major difference. And in this image, you are seeing the easy to reach areas in green. So my message or my recommendation to you is position action areas or action buttons in the easy to reach areas. So user can continue with one-handed usage. I just showed 3 very basic small like optimization examples which resulted in big changes. And there are many brands in the ecosystem who are thinking about these small things and optimizing their conversion rates. This is why we are, at Google, always saying you are competing with the best experience a consumer has ever had. So these are the brands who optimize their conversion rates from 5% to 183% by just making design improvements. You can read their success stories on Think with Google portal. They have one thing in common. They adopted a test and learn culture. They test everything. They question even like very basic things. And they also know that design or UX-focused companies show a stronger financial performance. Research is showing us that companies who are more focused on design or conversion rate optimization show a higher total returns to shareholders, substantially larger than their counterparts. And their stock market advantage is bigger. How can you improve? Or how can you get ideas for improvement? I want to share 2 nice resources with you. The first one is WinOn mobile web page that we recently launched, where you can find lots of ideas and tips and tactics to optimize your mobile site, as well as getting UX improvement ideas. And the second one is Mobile UX Marathon, which is currently running. Just go to the web page, register, join online live streams, and even join the discussion. So you can talk to Google Mobile UX experts and ask your questions. More details on these web pages. So I hope this very short 20-minute talk was insightful for you and motivational enough for you to research more in this topic and optimize your mobile sites. So I want to thank you for listening to us, and I wish a good rest of the day.
Thank you very much.